Hi ma'am, hi classmates. I am here for today to discuss about Module 13 Bruner's Constructivist Theory. I'm Jocelyn Thea from BECE 1A. Before we start, we should know first the objectives that the students to learn after the discussion. The first one is explain the individual's ability and development to represent knowledge. The second one is differentiate and discuss Bruner's main concept of constructivism. The third one is explain how spiral curriculum works. Before we go for this theory, we should know first who is Jerome Bruner. Jerome Bruner, he is an American psychologist and educator who developed theories and his perception, learning, memory, and other conclusion of a young children. So, Jerome Bruner is one of the first proponent of constructivism. So now, how do we define constructivism? Constructivism is an epistemological belief about what knowing is and how one come to know. According to Jerome Bruner, we learn to our experience and that meaning is influenced by our attraction of our prior knowledge and new events. So, according to Philip 1995, this prior knowledge influence what's new or modified knowledge an individual will construct new learning and experience, and the experience is the best teacher. Now, the constructivism reject the notions that the first one is knowledge is an identifiable entity with absolute truth value. So, sabi dito, Bruners reject this desirable concept because he believed that the learning is active process, which means the knowledge who itself is an active process, which learner construct new ideas or concepts based upon their current or past knowledge. So, ito yung paniniwala ni Jerome Bruner na absolute truth value ang knowledge. The third one is learners can incorporate extra copies of teachers' understanding for their own use. So, sabi nga ni Bruners is believes that this means that is certain knowledge between the teacher and the learners. Doesn't mean that they have the same copies and the same. It made that the knowledge acquired by the student is the same level of the teacher. Hindi po lahat ng masasabi natin ay yun na po yung tinuro sa atin ng ating guro. Yun na po ang na-adapt natin sa buong pag-aaral natin kasi po we don't have the same understanding of level in knowledge. And in representation, there are three types of representation are the way in which information or knowledge are stored and it's called the memory. So when we say inactive representation is children learn about the world through action on physical objects and the outcomes of these actions. Bruner said, when we say inactive representation, it refers to the children learning about the world through action and physical objects. It is also the action based from 0 to 1 year old. This is the first kind of memory. This mode is used within the first year of life. Thinking is based entirely on physical action, and infant learns by doing rather than by internal representation or thinking. The second one is iconic representation. Iconic representation is obtained through using models and pictures. The learner can now use mental image to stand for certain objects or events. So, It is an image-based the child age from 1 to 6 years old. Information stored on sensory image usually like picture in their mind. Third one is symbolic representation. Symbolic representation is the learner has developed the ability to think abstract terms. So, this is the language based in the child age from 7 years old onwards. This is where information stored in the form of code or symbols, such as language. This mode is acquired around 6 to 7 years old. In the symbolic stage, knowledge is stored primarily as words, mathematical symbols, or in other symbol systems such as music. Symbols are flexible in they can be manipulated, ordered, classified, and etc. The third one is what is paracurriculum? Instruction needs to be anchored on the learner's cognitive capabilities. So, paracurriculum means is an approach to education that involves regularly representing the same education or topics covered the course of the student education. Each time the content is visited, the, the students gain deeper knowledge over the topic, and it has free benefits of information over and how use it the prime knowledge to inform the teacher learning. So the question is, the educational system in our country is as paracurriculum? The answer is yes. So as we observe during the grade school, mapapansin natin yung estudyante from grade 1 to grade 6, they are been teaching the basic arithmetic. However, for grade 1 is just a basic, simple explanation and problem solving until grade 2. Mapapansin ng mga bata na still kanila and they have na-experience nila about the topic. And the concept as they will visited, they gain more knowledge because it's improving the answer, for example, our topic and regarding to the pattern, I shall we say, the educational system. We're in curriculum system right now that we have K-12 program at mapapansin natin na merong 2 years extension of the school day. School day have program for the academic crack that code gas. The third one is discovery learning. Discovery learning is Bruner 1961 proposes that learners construct their own knowledge and categorization information using a coding system. So, Bruners believe that the most effective way to develop a coding system is to discover it rather than being told by the teacher. The concept of discovery learning implies that students construct their own knowledge for themselves, also known as constructivist approach. The role of the teacher should not be teach information by rote learning, but instead to facilitate the learning process. This means that the good teacher will design lesson that helps students to discover relationship between bits of information. In discovery learning, there are 4 major aspects in the theory of instruction, and the following are predisposition to learn, B is structural knowledge, C is effective sequencing, D reinforcement. So when we say predisposition to learn, it is It is refers to the readiness for learning. It is also known as curiosity and uncertainty. Bruner felt that the experience should be designed lessons that help students discover relationship between bits of information. So that will help the student be willing and able to learn. Brewers believe that the design to learn and undertake the problem solving will be activated by devising problem activities which student will explore alternative solution. So when we say structure or knowledge, the ways in which a body of knowledge can be structured so that it can be most readily grasped by the learner. So when we say structure, this is the second component of Bruner's theory. Bruner's expressed it by saying that the curriculum specialist teacher must specify the ways in which a value of knowledge should be structured so that it can be the most talent really grasped by the learners. When we say effective sequencing, this is the presentation of lessons increasingly develop difficulty. So when we say effective sequencing, this is the third principle of Bruner's and it refers, according Bruner's, the structure should be in the learners through the content in order the student increase the ability to grasp, transform, and transform what is learning. The fourth one is reinforcement. So when we say reinforcement, the rewards and punishment that should be selected and paced appropriately. So when we say reinforcement, this is the last aspect of Bruner's theory that the nature's advisable reward and punishment should be specified. So what is categorization? So according to Bruner's, he believed that perception, conceptualization, learning, and decision making and making apprentices all involve decision, and there are three types of categorization. The first one is identity categorization. The second one is equivalent categorization. The third one is coding system. So when we say identity categorization includes objects based on their attributes or features. And equivalent categories is provide rules and bring categories. And the coding system is served to recognize on the sensory input.